I'll film you doing it, alright?
Oh, thank you.
Go on, off go.
Thank you.
Just looking in the back is my son Andrew, but I introduced him to Andrew.
It's good to be here to bless this garden of remembrance. And thousands of people will pass this garden of remembrance during this remembrance time. And many will lay crosses to remember individuals, people who are important in their families and in their lives. They will give thanks for their sacrifice and pray for their peace. I was given last year this Passchendaele poppy. And it remembers member Corporal from the Quadrant Rangers, Corporal O'Reilly. When I lay my cross here in this garden of remembrance, I'll be remembering him and his family. Individuals get so lost in huge numbers, we forget about people, individuals, their families. Listen to this reading from the book of Ecclesiastes. Everything that happens in this world happens at a time God chooses. He sets the time for birth and the time for death, a time for planting and a time for pulling up, a time for killing and a time for healing, a time for tearing down and a time for building. He sets the time for sorrow and the time for joy, the time for mourning and the time for dancing, time for love, the time for kissing and not kissing, a time for finding and a time for losing, a time for saving and a time for throwing away, a time of tearing and a time of mending, a time for silence and a time for talk. He sets the time for love and a time for hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Let's pray.
Let us pray for all who suffer as a result of conflict and ask that God may give us peace. For the service men and women who died in the violence of war, each one remembered by and known to God. For those who love them in death as in life, offering the distress of our grief and the sadness of our loss. For all members of the armed forces who are in danger this day, remembering family, friends, and all who pray for their safe return. For civilian women, children and men whose lives are disfigured by war or terror, calling to mind in penitence the anger and hatred of humanity. For peacemakers and peacekeepers who seek to keep this world secure and free. For Her Majesty the Queen and all who bear the burden and privilege of leadership, political, military and religious, asking for gifts of wisdom and resolve in the search for reconciliation and peace. For all these people and things, may God give peace. O God of truth and justice, we hold before you those whose memory we cherish, and those whose names we will never know. Help us to lift our eyes above the torment of this broken world, and grant us the grace to pray for those who wish us harm. As we honour the past, may we put our faith in your future. For you are the source of life and hope, now and forever. Amen. We join together as Jesus has taught us in saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory, forever and ever.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. we gave our today. Bless, O Lord, all who come to this garden of remembrance. May they know the peace, your love, the new life of your cross. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Majesty's Lord Lieutenant, High Sheriff, Lord Mayor, City and County of Swansea, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Kirsten Osborne, who is now officially the sweetheart of the Royal British Legion Poppy Appeal for the whole of South West Wales. Welcome and thank you. Thank you, sir.
Came an Irishman one day, as the streets are paved with gold, sure everyone was gay, singing songs of Piccadilly, Strand and Leicester Square, till Paddy got excited and he shouted so them there. It's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly, farewell, Leicester Square. It's a long, long way to Tipperary, but my heart's right there.
everybody else. So tell me now, and I won't ask again, will you still love me tomorrow? Will you still love me?
Welcome to the Lord Mayor of Swansea, David Phillips. David, what do you think of the event today?
Well, I think it's excellent, and I think it's very necessary that we do this. We must remember that the poppy is a symbol of remembrance and hope, and in my view, I think a hope for peace. It's not a symbol of death or a sign of support for war, nor is it any indication of your politics or religion. It's just about remembrance, and red or white doesn't attempt to glorify or romanticise conflict. It's just that at least once a year makes us take pause and consider the consequences both for people and their families of war and conflict now and in the future.
Of course, the centenary now is coming up on the 11th of November. So this is appropriate for this garden to be unveiled here this morning by the Lord Lieutenant and your good self. What is people can come along and plant their crosses here?
Yeah. As you can see, the idea here is that you're planting crosses of peace, not laying reeds, but you can do that as well. I imagine if people wanted to do that. So that across the city, there's quite a few of these. On last Saturday, I was at Dannegrog Cemetery, at the Cross of Peace in the cemetery, where Charles Thomas has, for the last 20 years, I think, Alderman Charles Thomas has been organising a service where young people can come and put crosses of peace in the hope for a peaceful future for them when they grow up. And I think that's really important, that we recognise what other people do in our name, because most of the soldiers that we're going to be talking about, that we're remembering, and their families, are young people, generally other people's children, who are going to war in the support of decisions made by politicians safe at home. Right. And I think it's absolutely necessary that we remember the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice for some of them, they make to do that, and the consequences for all the people caught up in that. That we remember that that's because of decisions made by people at home. Politicians like me at every level, we can forget the consequences of the decisions we take, and I think that at least once a year we should take pause and remember that other people carry the consequences of what it is that we do.
Lovely. Okay, thank you, David. Thank you very much for talking to us. That was David Phillips there, Lord Mayor of Swansea. With me now is Kirstin Osborne, the Forces sweetheart. Kirstin, what a marvellous morning. Have you enjoyed yourself?
It's been absolutely wonderful. I'm so honoured that they invited me down here today to be a part of the ceremony, and it was so beautiful. We even shed a few tears today.
Oh, bless.
It's been lovely.
Yeah, no, you're a young girl, and this war was 100 years ago, come November the 11th. So, I mean, how is it, how does it come over to you then? Do you know much about the war?
I found being involved in the forces over the last couple of years, I'm learning more and more, and there's so much to know, and there were so many different conflicts to know about. You keep learning something new every day, but I'm just honoured that I can support them and help them, even if it's just with the volume of my voice. It's something, but I'm really proud to be the Royal Marines Forces Sweetheart, and today they've officially adopted me as the Royal British Legion Poppy Peel Forces Sweetheart as well, so I'm honoured, I'm speechless.
Well, I would be too. So that's a great honour for the British Legion, so congratulations there.
Thank you.
So, I mean, today is the Remembrance Garden for the Poppy Appeal for Swansea, and people will come along here and put their crosses here right up until the 11th minute of the 11th hour, or the 11th day, or the 11th whatever. Yeah. And just to recap then, finalise what the event has been for you today.
It's been absolutely fantastic, and as you say, the ceremony was wonderful, and everyone was silent just for us to say our prayers and to do a minute's silence, and then I sang the anthems, and of course this garden is going to be here for the next week, and it's just to raise awareness of the Poppy Appeal and for us to not forget. That's the whole point of remembrance, so nobody can forget, and make sure you've got your poppies on, and I'll be singing here at the Quadrant for the rest of the week, so I'm so happy I can be here and help.
Oh, lovely. Thank you, Kirstin, for talking to us. That's Kirstin Osborne, the Forces Sweetheart. Now back to the studio.